It took me a while to track down my old friend, the professor. He has become something of a recluse in a small village in the east of England. He told me that he has acquired a new nickname, Old Bootloader, and he rather likes it. They call him this in the village shop and the pub. His passions seem concentrated, less diffuse these days, and directed towards making arcane musics. He had not forgotten his old struggles, though, and was happy to give me advice over the lecture I was about to give. First, he said, you must tell them about empires, about how they rise and fall, how the sedentary give way to the nomadic, and how the nomadic settle and become dominant, only to fall again. Tell them how this was known to Ibn Khaldun in the 14th century, and how Deleuze and Guattari acknowledged their debt to him in 2 citations and a footnote in Mille Plateaux, but could have made him a third author. Tell them of the 2 ghosts that haunt us, fascism and madness. You can hint at this with some of those images of surveillance and infrastructure that you are fond of, old military installations, your trip to the DMZ in Korea, and images of collapse, perhaps the destruction of Ironopolis. So first, empire. Second, said old bootloader, you need to connect these thoughts to technology. Your audience will like that. They will be expecting remarks about AI. Doubtless many of them will have forgotten that it stands for artificial intelligence. But don't do that. Tell them about the proliferation of nuclear weapons, how, aside from the very first time, no one has successfully tested a bomb on the basis of published physics alone, and without having someone on the team who has already worked on a successful test, even if their participation was secured through espionage or kidnapping. Tell them that this means that the bomb can be uninvented through test bans and waiting for all those with the knowledge to die out. Tell them that if nukes can be uninvented, so can anything else. Show them documentary film of early tests accompanied by melancholic music. So, second, the contingencies of technology. Third, he said, continuing from this, talk about your fascination with the details of work, of the practices by which things are made, of how we should reject ideas of Aristotelian hylomorphism, whereby ideas somehow take material form, and think of more subtle entanglings of bodies and materials. Remind them of how some 20 years ago you brought this perspective to thinking about your own practice as a musical improviser, or you did as well as you could back then. Don't show them your own musical work just yet. Perhaps show them some film you have shot of people at work and invite your audience to do a bit of workplace ethnography. So, third, the work to make it work. Remember your old thinking about the very idea of an interface? Old bootloader asked me. That paper you wrote over 30 years ago, where you argued that we should replace the concept of the interface with the practice of interfacing. I think they might like that. You can challenge them to rethink the separations, attributions, localizations and problematizations they make or take for granted whenever they talk of interfaces. As an added bonus, you could note how many classic thought experiments in philosophy do interfacing to convince you of things you might otherwise resist. Plato's Cave, Turing's Imitation Game, Searle's Chinese Room. These are all ontological traps for the unwary. Show them how you think of interfaces in an extended sense in your own work, and make sure you show them that funny blob detection movie where you wear a false beard to impersonate me and claim that you have made a machine that reads minds. Fourth, from interfaces to interfacing. If they are on your side, I think you can now offer a whole bunch of speculative strategies, tactics, and open questions. Fifth, and finally, what if interfacing becomes the very subject matter of an art? How might we rethink tools, instruments, technologies, if separations and the rest were provisional or uncertain? How might we go about making? We certainly wouldn't wish to emulate capitalist commodity production with its separations of labour and value. How can we think of performance as performance, as forming through? Tell them, ask not what's in the artefact, but what the artefact is in. That will get them to think ecologically. Yes, performance ecologies and ecosystems. And who might do all this questioning and making and playing? An improvisatory community. A community that values situatedness, action in specific settings and moments. Immanence, working from within. Materialism, working close to materials. Conviviality, living and working with others. Things, artifacts in the making. Infrastructures, communities of practice, resource networks. Entanglements, all of the above together. An improvisatory community, a coming community of lovers, inoperative, confronted, disavowed, of impure belonging. Fifth and finally, steering clear of fascism and madness, uninventing the bomb, the children of the mantic stain.